Good morning, Canadian Yarn Heart. My name is Alyssa, and today we're just going to make these, they're called fingerless gloves. I'll show you. Put your hand in, and then it's just something to hold a little bit of heat in your hand during the warmth of the winter. As you can see, Willa's behind me getting comfortable. The thing about this is the yarn I used. Now, what I used is I have this Queensland collection. It is from Lens Mills. I am going to show you a little bit closer up there so you can see it. How about we move over and I'll give you all the details over there. Okay, so for this pattern, as I said, this is a Queensland collection. It is soft machine washable blend of lamb's wool and cotton, which is why I really wanted to use this. So it is 55% lamb's wool and 45% cotton. It is considered a 2, as you see right there. It has a suggested knitting gauge here. So it's 23 to 26 stitches is a 4-inch on US 3 to 5 needles, which is 3.25 to 3.75 needles. And the suggested crochet gauge is 16 to 20 stitches for a 4-inch in single crochet using an E4 to 7 or a 3.5 millimeter hook to a 4.5 millimeter hook. Now, I did pay $9.99 at Lens Mills. The color is called Passion Flower. I do really like this yarn. It's a very nice yarn. I wanted something very simple, so I'm just doing a very basic stocking stitch. Ooh, I'm just going to angle you down just a little bit. A stocking stitch, stocking stitch pattern. I wanted very simple, but I wanted something with wool because my hands are always so very cold in winter. I do like to try and cover my hands with something like this, which is not going to be bulky. It's not going to be big. It's going to be nice. I'm hoping to see if it will help keep my hands warm. So you are going to cast on. Now I'm going to count here because I forgot to do that at the beginning of the video. So we're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 32, 36, 38, 42. So it's 42 stitches. So we are going to cast on 42 stitches. Now you do want to leave a tail because you are going to be sewing these up. That is why we're using straight needles and not DPNs. DPNs, they will fit better, but I do find I did want something very quick, very simple, very basic. I didn't want something complicated for this. I wanted something basic because I wanted to be able to wear them coming up, and I wanted to do the video pretty quickly. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, 5, 6, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 38, 39, 41, and 42 goes on. So there's your 42 stitches. Now you're going to start with what looks like 1 inch. I'm going to measure it out right now. Pretty sure, oh, that's only going to be 4 rows. So you're looking at 1/2 inch. So it is 4 rows of stocking stitch, which is knit one, purl one. And I do recommend you make two. Obviously, I have the first one made so I could make the second one for the video. So you're going to knit one. And this is the problem when starting needles. You are going to have to find creative ways. Oops, I'm just going to do that. To keeping the yarn on the needles. Once you get a yarn or a row or two, it will balance itself out. Usually once you get a few stitches on it, it'll balance out. So you're going to do 4 rows just like this. Just knit and purl and knit and purl all the way to the end. And then, like I said, 4 rows of that. I'm going to come back when I'm done my 4 rows because I don't think you need to watch me do it for 4 rows. So I will come back in a second to show you how we start the stocking stitch. So I've got my 4 rows. Now what we're going to do is you're just going to straight knit. That's what stocking stitch is. Just knit all the way across and you're going to stocking stitch. So knit 1 row, purl 1 row. You are going to do that. I will take a measurement in just a second. And you're just going to keep knitting. Just like this, all the way down this row, and then you're going to purl. You're going to do that, let's see how long, until it measures 6 inches from the start. So as I said, you're just going to go around, and you just simply go around the needle. So just keep doing that. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. I have done a couple of videos today, so if I have, I do apologize. But if you are a new viewer, thank you very much for coming. What I usually do is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I usually do a quick daily update to show you what I'm working on, kind of how long it takes, little tips and tricks I know, answer any questions I get, things like that. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and now we're going to do a purl row. So you're just going to go this way. And so I do projects. So this is a project video where I show how to make a project. I do hope to earn your like and subscription. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. I would love to hear you in the questions, comments, or below. I would love to earn your like or subscription. If you have a channel and you'd like me to check it out, by all means. I like to do a lot of things other than just crocheting on my TV. I like to watch a lot of different things. So by all means, let me know if you have a channel. Let me know what your kind of favorite yarn is. Right now I'm working with, as I said, I'm working with a wool today. This is somewhat of my first, I don't know a lot about wool, so I'm starting to learn more about the fabrics and the yarns and what materials they're made of, and I'm trying to start seeing if wool actually will help keep me warmer, because I'm always cold from pretty much September until May. So I'm trying to start seeing if these things will help. That's why you'll notice I will point out certain fabrics or yarns I'm using, like this one. This one is wool and cotton. Not sure about the cotton, willing to try the wool. This is fairly new to me, so I'm learning. I've mainly used acrylics most of my life. I like acrylics. They're good, cheap yarns. They're good durability. They're good for cost-wise when you're raising a young family. That was a good thing for me when I was younger. So I'm going to keep going. I do hope you come back for come back to watch more of my videos. Like I said, I'm going to do 6 inches of just knitting and purling. And then we're going to do the upper border, and I will show you how to sew it up, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, so I've managed to get it up to it was the 6 inches from the bottom. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to do the top rows. See, so now I just got to do 4 rows of ribbing. So you're back and forth just like you did at the beginning. So you're going to repeat that for 4 rows. I'm going to show you how to do that, how to sew it up when I'm done my 4 rows. I'm just going to show you a few more stitches, and I'll be back in a minute, and I will show you how to knit up, how I knit up my fingerless gloves. I'll be back in a second. So I'm just starting my 4th row, and this one we are going to cast off on. Just turn on the light, you can see a little bit better. So you're going to go 1, and normally, as you know, I like to cast on and cast off with a hook. However, because this is ribbing, you kind of have to do it with the needles. Otherwise, it just won't look quite right. So you're just gonna stitch up. And this is just how you're gonna do it. That was knit, not purl. There we go, knit. You're just going to keep doing this all the way along. So that's your 4th row at the top. I will come back when we're done, and I will show you how I sew it up. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I just got that done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this end. And at this end, what you want to do, fold it the opposite way, grab your needle, and you're just going to sew up, wrap around there, and you're just going to sew up the border. So the ribbing is where you want to, so that's 3, and then we're just going to do 1 more, and there we go. So now you're done the top of your fingerless glove seam, because you really want to make sure you leave a hole for your thumb. So we are not making bracers, we are making fingerless gloves. So you do want to make sure that you leave an open space here. So now we'll trim this up. Now, what I like to do, because I have one made, is I'm going to hold them together, hold that together, and you're right there. So if you notice, I'm just kind of measuring the 2 together. So right there, I will grab, you can use a stitch marker, you can use a random piece of needle, wool you want. I like stitch markers. Now what you're going to do is you're going to grab this tail, just going to untie it. And you mainly tie it up so that it stays out of your way, so it doesn't get in your way when you're working, or so you don't accidentally work it in. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to sew up this seam to the stitch markers. Just kind of want to grab where you can, what looks right for you. You want to go back and forth, you can do that. And you just want to keep picking up stitches. And if you get to a point where you're worried about having too many stitches and you know you don't want it to unravel, just go back a bit and loop it around. That will pretty much ensure that if this seam comes undone, it shouldn't work its way out of that without a lot of help. So if you do that a couple of times going down your seam, do it when I get to my fingers. So this one will double back on itself. And then you know you've kind of reinforced that seam from just coming undone. It is the one thing when you use crochet hook you can't really do, but if I'm not using a crochet hook and I'm sewing it up, I usually definitely try to walk the stitches back a bit and just ensure that it won't, so if you're out and about or whatever, it won't come undone on you. And like I said, these are wonderful to keep your hands warm, but still give you fingers. So if you want to drive or if you need to talk on your phone, but your hands are always icicles like mine do. Mine aren't there quite yet, but we are getting very close. We are actually, right now we're in near the end of September and we are having a nice warm spell, but I imagine as soon as it drops, we'll start getting chilly again, and then I will really be cold right from now until September or May. It's usually the joke my husband and I have is I'm always cold. I usually wear a heated sweater now, from now until May, just to keep myself warm. Like I said, I normally do, but lately, because of the Indian summer we've been having, I haven't had to. But that's why I'm trying to get these done before the temperature drops, and I do need to have something to keep my hands from freezing. I mean, when you put gas in the car, or so many just little things you can do, that having a fingerless pair of gloves can really help keep you warm. And like I said, I'm trying. It's not quite enough, so I'm going to go back a bit. I didn't give it quite large enough, so I'm going to pull to that. There, and then I will put a knot there, so that way it locks it almost into place here. And then wrap it around the needle, tighten up. Now you're just going to go back and darn in this end. And there you pretty much have it. So I do hope that I earned your like and subscription today. I would love to see you again with another project or with another update. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will show you these on now. Oop, wrong way. One on. So there's the one. Here's the other. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope to see you again. Bye.